Today I'd like to cover a couple things. What you see is going to happen is that these components that I keep adding in little by little, they all start fitting together. It's like a little puzzle. And pretty soon you see that you can use one with the other. And they start working together. It gets kind of more interesting as time passes. Today I'd like to show you three things, actually. Do you know how we say style equals quote blah 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 in HTML? We can actually, once you say one of those commands in HTML, you can actually go to JavaScript and you can change the information in those commands. So for example, like we have one, for example, says what color is the screen. We could go to JavaScript and say change the color of the screen by changing one of the numbers or one of the words in that style sheet. So you can change things remotely. It's kind of interesting how to do it. And that's what I'd kind of like to talk about today. Let me give you I'll make up one. Let's say I have an image on, suppose this is in the HTML code. Suppose I have an image, and the source of the image equals some picture, whatever it is, picture .jpg, like so. And supposing I say style over here equals, and supposing that's the line I have. And basically, it's a picture, okay? And the source is picture. And when I set up the style sheet, I want to locate the picture somewhere on the screen. So I locate it from the left 100 pixels over. So the picture, whatever the picture is, if this is the screen right here, it'll be 100 pixels this way, and then you'll see the picture over there, okay? And so that actually is what this line does. It simply says put the picture out, instead of putting it in the upper left hand corner, slide it out 100 to the right. From the left side it's 100 pixels. That's what that does. This number right here you can actually change in JavaScript. Okay? If I were in a JavaScript program and I wanted to change that number right there, first thing I'd have to do, and this is the tough part right here, which you have to remember, if you're going to do it, if you're going to actually make a change in the picture, what you have to do is you have to give a name to this line right here. You have to give it an ID so it'll know what line you're talking about. So in other words, up in the JavaScript, it has to know what the ID is for it to work. So basically what I have to do, I'm going to do it again, write the whole thing. So you put the image source equals whatever, any picture, doesn't matter what it is, image.jpg. And then you say ID equals, and you give it a name. I'll call it pick1, for example, pick1, like that. So now, this entire line here has the name pick1. It's been given an identification. That's what that ID does, by the way. It tells you this is the name of what the variable is in this line. This is a variable. Okay, now, supposing we're up in JavaScript, and what we want to do is we want to move the picture to pixels 200. We want to move it to 200. Instead of being 100, we want to move it over 200, okay? So here's what you do. In JavaScript, the first thing you do is you find out the name of the line that you're going to change. What is the image you're going to change? And that's its ID right here. So you put pick1. This is up in, this is in JavaScript now, the JavaScript code. And then what you do is you say, well, I have a style sheet in there. And in the style sheet, I have a thing called left. If I say equals 200, that's it. That's all you have to do. So in other words, what happens is the whole item, this whole thing right here has an ID, and that's it. When you say ID, that's an ID and everything. And then within that item, you have a style sheet. Within the style sheet, you have left. Okay? Now, think of it like this. These dots have a specific meaning. Suppose you have a house, And in the house you have a kitchen right here, and in the kitchen you have a table. If you were using the same reasoning, which you do in all computer languages now use this kind of reasoning, what you would say is, well, I'm in the house, and then I'm in the kitchen, and then I'm looking at the table. See how it works? It's like an address. You start off with the name of the person, the street they live on, the city they live in. Only they say it backwards. They say the city you live in, the street they live on, and the name of the person. It goes downhill. So this is like a major category, and these are within these categories. And that's how computer language is pretty quick. That's what that dot does for you. It simply says that within the house is a kitchen, within the kitchen is a table, and that's the thing we're talking about. Okay. In this case right here, it says within this program there's a picture, and within that picture there's a style. Within that style there's the left set it at the left position, and then you put whatever you want in there. You say, I want to change that to 200, because the left position has a number in it. It says left, and it's got 100 in it right there. Okay. Make sense? And that's how it's done. So I'm going to use that now in a program to kind of do a little bit of work and show you how to do things. I mentioned this earlier, but it is possible to animate a screen, to animate the stuff on the screen, the objects on the screen. Okay, people don't do that very much, and I don't know why they don't, because it's perfectly available to us, and you can make things move around, you can spin them, you can do all kinds of stuff with them, but people just don't do it very much. But I'm going to show you the basis of how to do it. We're not going to do a lot of it today, but I want to give you the introduction to how to do it today. And so after we get at this a little bit, you'll see that you can do just about anything you want to do. There's one thing that we haven't had yet. I'm going to add on probably in the next couple of weeks. Is control over the mouse, because the mouse, when you push the mouse down, you can grab stuff and move it around if you want. We have a way of doing that in JavaScript also. We can say take the mouse, grab a hold of something, and move it. We can do all that stuff. So once you get that control, you can see that you can move stuff around the screen, or instead of using the mouse, we can say move the box to the left, and it will move the box to the left. I mean, we'll do that today. In fact, I'm going to do that today. And I'll show you how to verbally tell things on the screen what to do, where to go, and rotate or not rotate, whatever you want to tell them to do. And the best way to start that, I think, is to initially have a button to do it. Say, push a button and it goes to the right, push another button and it goes to the left. That's the easiest kind of programming. So then what happens is we'll take out that easy programming and we'll add in the sound stuff, where the voice recognition from Google listens to us, and it looks for words like left and right and up and down. And when it hears those words, it acts on the object. It tells it to go up and down, in or out, whatever. And it takes advantage of the fact that when you locate an object, you tell it how far to the left it is when you identify it. Like when you say I have a picture, it's left this, and it's top that. Top means how far down it is. We'll talk about that a little bit. And so now what you have is two positions of the thing. So you can tell in JavaScript, you can change those numbers. You can change the number of moving left to right, or you can change the number of moving up and down. Top can be moved up and down, left can be moved up and down, left and right. So therefore, you actually have control over those objects, as long as you put the name of the object, style, and left, or top, one of those two words, okay? But let's start off with the simplest program, which is just to write a program that you can use buttons to do it. You say, push this button, it'll go left, push this button, it goes right, just to keep it simple, okay? By the way, you notice I correct my typos online. I put in the little, I'm going to stop putting in those little white blurbs to say the line that I wrote on the board was wrong. So you got to be careful, because when I write stuff on the board, I'm looking at this and looking at that. My eyes aren't that great anyway, so I'm liable to leave out something. And so I don't think the programs on the board will work unless you're running them here and we can actually debug them in real time. But I can write something just like anybody else. I may make the same mistakes as you do, so I'm liable to leave anything out. But I'm trying to copy, and probably I should be more careful. But okay, to start off with, we get the same old stuff. This program, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll draw the picture of what we're going to do. In this program, I have a mouse, and he's a little dancing mouse. That's a mouse. And what the mouse does is, I think I use a mouse. See if I do use a mouse. I think I do. Yeah, I use the mouse. So basically, I have a mouse, and it's just a little thing, not very big on the screen. And I'm going to put in a couple of buttons. I'll put a left button in and a right button in. And when I click the left button, the mouse should go this way. When I click the right button, the mouse should go that way on the screen. Okay? That's all it's going to do. It's just going to move the mouse. It's not going to change anything. The mouse happens to be the mouse that's on our website. It's an animated GIF. I don't know if you know what those are, but what a GIF is, it's like this JPEG, and then this GIF is the other old format. The difference between JPEG and GIF is both of them compress. They both compress things so that you can send them over the net, small, over the web. But GIF has some additional features. It actually allows you to animate the thing a little bit. Not a big long animation, but a little animation. So it'll do a couple of frames for you, and it wiggles back and forth. Most of the things you see when you see something just animated, you know, like maybe 10 frames or something, it's a GIF. And then it goes back and repeats the thing over and over and over again. Okay? But those are GIF files. And this is a little GIF file. Okay, so start off, HTML. First thing I do is I don't have anything else in there. Yes, I have to put. Okay, we'll start off the script. Usual. I'm going to have a function. I'm just going to give it its name for now. I'm going to call it move it. Like so. And I'm going to send some words up from here. I'm going to call it my words. This is just I just made this up. Just like I made up move it, my words is just a made up word. I'm not very good at making up names of variables. You guys probably are better at that. Some of you are really good at that. Naming a variable, what it really is and how to use it. Okay, so I'm going to go over to start writing the body of the thing right now, because what I want to do is I want to set up this whole thing here. So that when I press the button, I'm going to go up to the function. It's going to move it for me. Okay. To start off with, here's the body. I'm not going to position everything into the center. See, if I position everything in the center over here, they will be forced to be in a certain position. I don't want to do that. I want to tell the mouse specifically where to go. So in other words, instead of letting the computer say center everything, I'm going to say to the mouse, be 500 pixels to the left. I'm going to tell it to be right there. Because by doing that, by telling it to be in a certain position, then I can say, move it from that position to 10 less, or move it from that position to 10 more. So in other words, by actually absolute positioning it, I can actually know where it is on the screen. Therefore, I can deal with it. Okay. So I need two buttons. So we got here. Actually, I'm going to do 4. I did 4 in the program online, but I'm just going to do 2. Instead of moving them up and down, I'm just going to move them left and right. It's the same principle, same thing. And online, you'll see there's 2 more instructions. One moves up, one moves down. These are just going to move left and right. And we're leaving out the last 2 just to get space, just to save some space here. Okay, I got an input. And type this button. And value equals move left. I'm just going to put, okay, I'll put move left here. What the heck. And then there's an on click right here. I'm just going to write it in right here. Equals move it. One and left. One and left. Okay. Let me tell you what's going on here to be sure you understand how to do these things. I'm just making a button like we've made, and it's going to have the words move left on it. Right here, it's going to say move left on that button right there. And then on click, it's going to go up to this function, and it's going to send up that data literal. It's going to send up the word left because it's got a quote around it. And notice it has a single quote. Be sure not to use a double, because a double closes in the entire on click here. And we just want to enclose something inside of that, so therefore use a single quote mark, just to distinguish. So the programming language will know, oh, they mean from here to here for the whole thing, and just from here to here for the left, the word left. So when you click this button, the word left goes up here and lands right inside of here. So my words contains the word left. That's what would happen in that case. And then we got to have the other button. Right here, this other button now, which was input. Type equals button. Value equals. This time you're going to go to the right. No spaces in here, by the way. No spaces. The word right has to be just locked in this way. Well, I guess it doesn't. The way I wrote it, it doesn't have to be. But to be safe, you always should just put the value that you want. Okay, next thing here is on click. Actually, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make any difference in that right there. It's in this one you have to be careful. Okay, on click equals move it back to the same program function. This time we're going to send the word right. This is where you have to be careful not to put any spaces. Just be sure that right is locked right in between these two quote marks right here. Okay. And there it is. So now you have two buttons. So we've created the two buttons. I haven't created the mouse yet. I got to put the mouse picture up there. Question?
In your button value lines, in the move left one, you have the quote after value, and in the move right, you have the quote before value. What's the appropriate location?
Wait a second. I say value equals move left.
You did button value.
Button just needs to close its.
Oh, sorry. Good job.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. That's what I mean. That's the reason why you cannot depend on what I'm writing here, unless you're smarter than I am. Then you can figure out what I'm doing wrong. Okay, so next question. Next thing I want to do is, in this program, I just put the mouse down, that's all. Okay, so here's the mouse. I say image, and the source of the image is, the source means, where's the picture in you, like some JPEG you have, or some ping, or whatever you have. I have a GIF file, and the name of it is mouse.gif. You got to put the whole thing in. That's the reason why I told you in your computers to be sure to see extensions. Whatever kind of computer you have, be sure to show extensions. If you see the extensions, you're going to know when this has a GIF on it rather than a JPEG, rather than something else. You have to know to program and talk to a picture. You have to know what the extension is, because you have to write it right in here. And if you have a computer that doesn't show you the extensions, you don't know what that picture is, whether it's JPEG or whatever.
Is that GIF?
GIF, yeah, GIF. Right. The interesting little slide about the GIF is owned by somebody. The format is actually owned by some company, like Yahoo or somebody. I don't know who it is now, but it's been sold around. But basically, actually, they own the format, so you're kind of using someone else's stuff, but then nobody cares. It's universally used, and it may have outdated its original. Whatever. Okay, the ID. I gave this thing an ID. Equals, and you have to give it an ID because I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to tell this mouse to move around. So therefore, I have to have an ID to grab a hold of it. So I can say the ID dot style dot left. I have to do that. So therefore, I gave it a name. You make up this name. You decide what you want. I called it Mouser, M-O-U-S-E-R. By the way, I used Mouser because I was afraid that JavaScript might use the word mouse because we have mice. It might use it for something. So I said, oh, I'm going to get into that. So I didn't use the word mouse as a variable name. Okay, so I got an ID in the thing. And then, next thing is I have a style. This is the style right here. This is all part of this. It's right, it goes right over here. Style equals, quote, position absolute, colon, absolute, semicolon, and then left, colon, 100. There it is right there. Okay, what this is going to be the picture. The mouse, the guy's going to show up right there. Okay, and he's going to have the name Mouser. He's going to be called Mouser to us. And he's going to be located, I'm going to put him 500 out. Sorry, hope you guys didn't do too value of that, that's 500. I want to put him out on the screen some distance. Actually, I put him on 1,000, but I'll use 500 for this one. Okay, so there he is. He's out on the left, he's 500 out, so that means he's out 500 pixels this way into the screen when he prints first time. That's it. I want to slash body slash HTML. Program's over. Now, that's the body part right there. Is there anything about that that you don't see connected with that? This is all a question.
Is that 500 centering it? Is it out of 1,000?
Well, no, I just moved it. It's just moving it 500 this way. Different screens are going to be different, of course. It's going to be a different place. But most screens are at least 1,000 pixels, so he's going to be out there some distance, but he's not going to be off the right edge. Which you can do. If I put 3,000, for example, you can go right off the right edge. You wouldn't even see him. Okay, you got to be careful of that. You have to kind of know how big your screen is, okay? There are ways, by the way, there are ways of telling the computer, no matter how big the screen is, put the character in a certain position. You can do that. But it's a bunch of arithmetic, and I don't think it's, you guys don't want to do that right now. The easiest thing to do is ignore those problems and just play it to the left edge. That way it'll always show up on everybody's screen. And then later in the semester, we can, if you want to do that, I'll show you how to create a screen, put it up percentage-wise, some percentage out, and all that stuff. It works. There's ways of doing it. But this is the easiest. This is by far the easiest. We're just saying we wanted 500 pixels from the left. And I didn't tell it, by the way, how many pixels from the top. So it's actually going to be up on the top of here. Well, let me move it from the top. I'm just going to do it just to get it out of the way. I'm going to say, well, semicolon, let's put it top 500 also. Colon 500. Yeah. I put it from the top. So in other words, it's going to be down from the top 500 and over from here 500. That'll be nice. It'll be down on the screen a little bit. Okay. And these buttons will be above it.
Question, we have the open bracket under the function before the body. Where's the close bracket?
I have to close it. I got to write the whole program.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing here yet.
Okay.
Okay, so step one, that's how we create the screen. That's what it looks like, and that's what that would create. Next question is, how do we actually move the thing around? Well, to begin with, when you press one of these buttons, when I press this button right here, if I press this button right here, the word left comes up to here. If I press this button right here, the word right comes up into here. So therefore, this is either going to have the word left or the word right. Okay? Now, I decided in writing this program to not give them the option of just writing, I want to go to the left. They have to write left. And they have to write right. So they're going to make an if statement. They have to write exactly what you're expecting, either left or right, one of the two. Okay? In this case right here, by pressing the button, okay, the word left is sent automatically. It's not going to send a bunch of words. It's going to send the word left. If you press right, it's just going to send the word right. In the speaking one, it's totally different. They might say, I want to go to the right, or move the mouse to the right. So the speaking one later, we're going to have to deal with this. But in this one right here, I can just simply say, did they send up left, or did they send up right, and act on whatever they sent up. So I say, if it's left, do this. If it's right, do that. That's simple. Okay, don't care what else. There's no other possibilities. So I said, well, right away I said, if my words, it comes in right here, equals, there's got to be two equals to say if things are equal. Don't forget to have two equals left, like so. Then I want to do something over there. Let's see how much space I have. Yeah, not much space. Okay, but I'll try to do it. I'm going to do it in one continuous line. So I say do this. First thing I want to do is I want to add, I've got to do something different here. I've got to add a couple of lines up in here. Let's see what I've got to add. I've got to add one line, just one line. Whatever I said down there, I said the location left was 500, and you put it right here too. Give it the same size. Because this number right here is going to be the same as whatever that left is down there. This is going to be the same. X location. This is the X location. So in other words, here's what you do. You write your program, you decide where you're going to put your mouse to the left. You got a number. And you put that number up here in X location because you want to have the same, now I'll show you why that has to be true. So what I do is I say, okay, that we're currently in X location right here. Okay, here's what I say. I want X location. Now, I just press a button. I press the left button. So what I want to do is I want to subtract some X to get myself to go that way. So I say, well, the original X location right here, which is 500, I want to subtract, let's subtract 20 from it. And here's what that does. When it comes down and it hits this line right here, it says, wherever I am now, which is 500, subtract 20, and I'm 480, right? So then it puts 480 in X location. So in other words, X location, when you come into this routine right here, X location is the original number, 500. When you subtract the 20, then you put it into X location, you're now down to 480. In other words, whatever arithmetic you do on X location and put it in X location changes where X location is. That's how you do it. I'm here, take away 20 and put myself here. That's what you do, okay? And that's how it works. So the first thing you do when you hit left, I want to take 20 things out. So basically what I want to do is I want this mouse to move 20 pixels that way. That's what I want it to do. So I say, okay, do that. And then what I say is, right here, this is going to be right here, by the way. I didn't write here, but it's going to be right here. Okay, I'm going to say, it's called Mouser dot style dot left equals X location. There it is. Okay, that's all one continuous line up there. X location, first thing you do is subtract 20 from it. And then you say, take that X location, which is now 480, and put it into Mouser style left, which puts it right here. This is Mouser. Mouser's right here, that's the ID. The style is right here, and left is right here. So it replaces that number with 480. And the minute it does that, the second it does that, the mouse moves to the new position, because now it's in a new position. So it moves it to the left, okay? If the person said, right, by clicking the right button, what would happen is, this thing right here, you can pick any numbers you want. I picked 20 pixels just so you can see it move. Pixels are very small. Location equals X location plus 20. So that would move it 20 that way, okay? Some semicolon here. And then I say Mouser dot style dot left, yes, equals X location. Now look at, you still use left. You still use left right here, just like you did up here, because what left means is how far are you from the left. So if you subtract 20 from how far you are from the left, you're closer to the left. If you add 20 to it, you're further from the left. But it's always the left. It's always this thing right here that's being changed. How far are you from the left? That's the variable that changes when you do either one of these commands right here. And I think that's about it. That's about it for this program. /script. /head. There it is, then the body starts right there, and that's it. So this is the first part of the program, continues on down to this part right here. Is there anything about any of that stuff that looks weird that you...
What's that at the very bottom right corner? Is that 50 or after top?
At the top, I put 500, yeah, it's 500 here.
So 500 in both spots?
It's just 500. It says top : 500.
Oh, okay.
See, all the, what you do is you say what the condition is, what the specific, left, where are we in the left, : 500. How far are we from the top, : 500. No, it's the general and then the local. Okay, the number, the actual number. So, that program would run. If you hit the left button, it would go left, 20. If you hit the right button, it would go right. Every time you hit the left, it would go 20 more. Question?
Does it matter what the ID is called, like my name it?
You can give it anything you want, but whatever, like this lady right here, you give it a different name, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a difference here. You have to use the same one here that you use here. These have to be the same.
So I could say banana.
Yeah, you can use banana, yeah.
Okay.
You have to use it for all of them, though, because you have to say, within the category of banana, the style of the left, move the picture. Any picture you have, whatever you want to call it. But don't forget, by the way, that's not the name on, this is the name right here. This could be a mouse.jpg or ping or something. That has to be exactly as it is in your file, whatever your file name is. This one you make up. I added the mouse to mouse. Mouse would probably work. I don't think they use that word, but you always have to be careful. If any word sounds like it's a computer kind of word, you have to be careful that they don't, that they not used it for something. But there it is. That's the first one. Okay, so that program will allow you to move the mouse around. If you added, if my words equal up, for example, and down, you simply have to have two more of these. You have one that has up and one that sends up to it, and one that sends down to it. And then what would happen is it would start at 500, and you could actually subtract something from the 500. By the way, it's kind of interesting though. If you say up, this way right here, okay, you have to subtract from the top to go up, because everything's measured from the top. This is where it is from the top down here. And if I want to go up, I have to make that smaller. So I have to subtract from the number to get it to go to the top. X is different. In the X direction, the more you add, the further it goes. And when you subtract, it comes back this way. In this case right here, you've got to be careful with the top one. It just doesn't, it isn't like kind of reasonable the way we think about things. Okay. Normally our systems work from this corner, and you go X this way and Y up this way. This one doesn't work. It starts up here, and it goes X this way and Y down that way.
Is there a, like, okay, I just ran it and it ran fine, but my image was like a broken image.
It was broken?
Yeah, it had like that, like little icon said like broken image.
Oh, that's because you don't have the image in the same folder as the program.
It is though.
Is it spelled with the same upper and lowercase letters?
Yeah.
With the same extension?
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe it. We'll take a look at it afterwards. The reason why it's doing it is because it can't find the picture. In other words, what you wrote right here is not exactly what your picture is. That's the normal thing that would happen in that case.
I got a question. So I already found some GIFs earlier that I wanted to use. I found one that's just a waving hand. So I saved that as hand.gif in my CS101 file. So when I save this program, instead of having mouse.gif, I put hand.gif, and instead of ID mouser, I put in hander or something like that.
Put it here too?
Yes. Then it should do the same thing, except for with a hand as opposed to mouse, right? Okay.
Did it run?
I'm right about to save it.
Okay. Anybody had it run here? Anybody got it run?
Yeah.
There is one. If you just go to the website, it's right there in today's assignment. One of them's there. It's the same as this, except it's got up and down as well. But you see the same kind of stuff. You see how it works. See, what I'm kind of hoping is that you'll see these programs and you see how easy ones work. And then if you want to do something special for your project later, you can grab this stuff and put it in your project. Whatever you want to do. It's possible. Okay, let me, I don't want to take too much more time here. So why don't I do the one that does it with voice so that you can tell it what to do. You can say to the mouse, go left, or go right, or go up and go down, whatever. You can say to the mouse, do it, okay? So essentially it's the same program, except now the information is spoken by you. It's going into the program. Google's looking at the things and gives you the sentence back as a string, as words. And then you look at that string to see if it contains the words left or right or up or down. You basically parse what you said verbally. You look at it to see what you said. And if you say left, make the mouse move left. If you say right, make the mouse move right. Okay? So that's all it's going to change. But in order to do it, I'm going to have to get rid of this. I need more space. I'm going to try to do it. I'll leave that there. Okay. Again, I'm going to avoid the up and down, because if I put the up and down, it takes the whole board. I'll just put the left and right. So this program looks really different than the one we're about to write. It's different this one in this respect, is that it's not getting its input from buttons. The whole screen just looks like this. Now, I normally do this. I'm going to do it again to show you what I normally do. I normally put a space up here that tells me what I said. So when I say something to Google, it writes it up in that screen there. Even though I'm going to use it for something else, I just want to be sure that the thing heard me correctly. So I always put an Alt1, just Alt1 right here, which just simply says, what did I say? Print it out so I can see what I said. Okay, that's all I need. Again, we have the mouse down here. There's the mouse. And this time we have one more button. I'm going to put it over here. And that's the wake up button. The wake up button, I always keep it there in case Google stops listening to me. You hit the wake up button and it brings it back up, wakes it up again. Okay, so I always put that button in. So therefore, that's what your screen kind of looks like. It's got the mouse. It's got this Alt1 right here. You don't see this. It's got Alt1. That's the place where what you say goes with the text. And it's got this wake up button if Google stops listening to you. And that's all that's on the screen. Okay. So let me do the body and get that stuff out there. Again, I'm not going to center anything. I'm just going to write them, just let them go as they go. First thing I want to do is I want to have an input area, which is whose ID is Alt1, and it's going to be text. That's that right there. Okay. And then I'm going to have a wake up button, which I've got to write down because it's got a specific address here. I want to be sure that I copy it exactly. I'll try to do it right this time. I think I did it wrong yesterday. I had to write it out again. Where's the wake up? Okay. I don't think I even added it in this one. Yeah, here it is. Okay. This is the part that I always forget right here. Button. That's a minus sign right there, by the way. Stop. Minus sign, WS. I wish they wouldn't use weird words like this. I hate that. It's funny what they use simple things. Type equals type equals button. Pretty that button right there. And value equals wake up. I just had it wake there, so I'll just go wake. That's all I put right there, wake. And on click, I'll write it right here. On click, go to recognizer. Dot start. This thing right here is going to be exactly written like that with the dot right there. Recognizer dot start, all small letters in this case. Everything's lowercase. Okay, what this button does, this button right here is simply, if the thing stops listening to you, if you're talking and nothing's coming into that, not changing, then hit the wake button and wait a second, it'll wake up for you. Another way to do it is just to hit this thing right here. That does the same thing. It will actually restart the program, so that does the same thing. So at that point, we've got that recognizer button. Oh, there's a lot of stuff here, though. I don't know if I get it all on the screen. I think I can. I'll try it. Next thing, I want to put the mouse here, in this position. So the mouse is image, source, equals, and the name of the mouse was mouse.gif, same one. And then I gave it an ID. See if I use that up above. I gave it an ID of flag, which is really weird, but that's the name I gave it, internal name. So my program, my name for that mouse is flag, the flag mouse. Just the flag mouse, the flag mouse. Okay, the style, here it is right here. The style for this thing equals, quote, it's got to be position absolute. Colon absolute. Semicolon, and then the left was 1,000. Colon 1,000. There it is. That's it. Slash body. Slash HTML. Unless I forgot any quotes or anything, that looks like it should be okay.
There's no quotes after button at the wake up button.
After the button,
Third row.
right here.
The top.
Button right here.
On
Which
the
is,
all around.
good, thank you.
And do you want to position the
But
mouse?
when I told you,
up?
you always make the same mistakes. That's exactly, this
Do
is
you want to
perfect.
move the mouse down too?
The mouse down?
Yeah. you can
Oh,
move
to
it
bring them
over
down?
the button.
Yes, I should do that. Good idea. Okay, so I position them 500, we'll say. So I went semicolon, I'll say top, colon 500. Good idea. Oh, it's not very good though. 500, colon, there we go. Like that. Now the mouse is down. That's good idea, good thinking. Okay, that's the whole program. That's the whole program. What you do, of course, is when the program starts, it's going to wake up, and I got to put that up there. That's it's not the whole program. It's right here. Got to do one more thing. Unload equals. Oh, I don't want to center anything, but I do want to start the program. So I hit recognizer. Dot start. There. You got to do that. To get the program actually operating, you got to do that. Okay, that's necessary. So there it is. Sorry, I missed that when I started. Okay, there we go. So now the program will start up. It'll turn on this. It'll listen to you. It'll start to begin to recognize your voice. And then, by the way, notice that it doesn't. You don't have to train to your voice. It's actually got such a big vocabulary. It's got a big range of people speaking. It compares it to a bunch of stuff. It's being done off at Google someplace with this huge computer thing, so they really do it fast. And by the way, in case you want to know, the reason why Google is so successful is because they invented a search engine. They can do things fast. That's what brought them their popularity and everything. Everything comes from that. And I think they use that same algorithm, whatever it is, they use it on all their stuff. So they can search through books, search through addresses, search through anything really quickly and give you an answer back really quickly. That's their secret power. So it starts off, it turns on the voice recognizer, so it listens to you. And then it has a place where I can, from my program, I can put the words that you say in print. And then if the thing shuts off, you can press this button, it'll start it back up again. And this over here just shows you the mouse right here. And it's located 500 down and 1,000 over, like so. Okay, now, the question is, when Google hears you say something, it goes immediately to your function called listen, and it goes to listen, and it brings with it a transcription of what's been said. It brings you the actual physical words, the printed words of what's been said. So here's your function right here. You've got to have this name listen, like so, and you go like so, like that. Okay. And what it does is, when it calls listen, it has a word, transcription, that it is still working on probably. It's probably still trying to figure out what you said. But you grab it anyway, you say transcription. Take it, and you send it to some variable you make up. And I think I used the word, what did I use in my program here? My words. My word right here. Not very good. I'm going to write that bigger, sorry. People at home can't read this stuff. description. Okay, so now what they've done is, when they hear me say something, they bounce to here and take, and this is like text. I move that text into my word. Now my word contains whatever I said. First thing I want to do is I want to put it up here. I want to put it right here so I can see what I said. So I immediately say, out1 dot, dot value equals my word. And immediately, when that happens, when JavaScript hits that, the words will come out on the HTML screen. You just simply said, this is what's in that position right now. Okay, does that make sense to you, that part right here? You just want to see what you said. So, Google sends back, it goes to listen, and it brings these words back as script, puts them in here, and then you say, show them to me on the screen to be sure they say what I actually said out loud. Okay. Then I went through this process right here. I said, variable. Position left equals my words. Dot index of. I want to see if the word left is there. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, I have my word now right here, and I come down and I say, well, in my word, look at my word, which is the expression wherever I said out loud. It looks to find the word left. So it looks for the word left and the expression I just said to it, okay? If it finds it, what goes in here is either 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It tells you which character that word appeared in that expression. So in other words, you have a positive or a 0 in there. If it was a negative comes out from here, it means it didn't find your word anyplace. So if that goes negative, it doesn't find the word, okay? Next thing I want to do is I want to say, well, did I find the word pause right? Did they say the word right in their sentence? It gets complicated to say both words. That baffles it. So this is a simple program like that. Index of. Right there. Okay? So at this point, either that one contains, if they said left, or this one, if they said right, contains a positive value. Then what you say, well, if pause left is greater than or equal to 0, what that means is it found the word left. In other words, it's got a value in it. It's got a value in it that's either equal to 0 or greater than 0. Then it found the word. So it found the word. Then what you want to do is you want to move the mouse. Again, we need a x location. So I'm going to say variable up here. X location. This time it's equal to 1,000. Because that's where I put them over here, 1,000, so it's 1,000, okay? So now what I want to do is I want to move that x location. So I say, well, x location, if he said move left, I'm going to say x location equals x location minus 20, which means they move to the left 20, right? That makes sense? So it's just like the previous program, you're moving to the left 20. So I'm taking from x location, I'm subtracting this. Now what I have to do is I have to put that right into here. And the way I do that is I write this. I say, well, I have a location here which is called flag. That's a variable name, flag. And in flag, I have a style sheet. And in the style sheet, I have a left. And that left is going to be equal to whatever is an x location, the new x location. There it is right there. Close, like that. And that's it. So you just go, that's right. This one subtracts 20 from the location and puts it in location. This says, put that new location into left, so we moved it to the left. Then they'll also move to the left right away. And we have to have another one right here, and if pause right, which is this right here, is greater than or equal to 0. Then we do the exact same thing. We say x location equals x location plus 20. We're going to move to the right this time. And then finally we say, well, the same variable here, flag, dot style, dot left equals x location. Semicolon, close. There's right here. Like I say, this is actually online, so you get to see it. Now, this is the end of the function here, so I would have to put this squiggle, I have to put the other squiggle going the other way. That finishes that. And then I'd have to put, above it, I'd have to put slash script. And then just T slash head. There it is. That's the whole program. So what happens is you go to listen, when Google goes to listen and brings these words, you put the words in here, and then you say, what did I say? And you put them out on the screen so you can see them right here. And then what happens is, it comes down here, it says, did they say the word left? If they did, this becomes 0 or positive. Did they say the word right? If it does, this becomes 0 or positive. Then you say, well, if that thing is 0 or positive, then they must have said left. So if they said left, what you do is you subtract 20 from the current location to go that way and put it back in their current location. And then you say put the current location in left. So you move that new location right to here. And it takes care of that. Then you go down to the next one. You say, did they say right? And if they said right, you move the location to the right 20, and then you put it into the same thing, same deal. And that's it. That's the whole program. Oh, whoops. One more thing. One more thing. Yes, indeed. Up in here, above the script, you've got to have another script. You're required to have a listener listening to the thing. Remember that? You have to have this include file, is the thing that you're actually, is doing all the work for you, really. Let me see what it looks like here. It's, okay. Script. Type. Equals. Text. This is all I say online also, JavaScript. Quote. Source equals listener .js close slash script. Don't forget that one, by the way. That has to close. That has to be all shut off right there. Don't forget to close that script. And that's it. Now the program will work. Seems to have everything. Function listen, closes that. Seems to be fine. You see anything that look weird there? Anybody tried this? Anybody writing it down? It should work. What it might do, when you first run the program, it might come up here and say, do you want to listen? Do you want to turn your microphone on? And you say, yeah, turn my microphone on. So it can hear what you're saying. It does that as a security test. And after you do it once, so it doesn't do it the second. I think after that, it sort of gets used to you and says, okay, you're in. You've already said yes. There it is. And so that program will actually do, verbally, move that mouse around. You can move it left and right. The one online has also up and down. It has 2 more tests. It has a test for position left, position right, position up, position down. So it has 4 tests instead of just 2. But it's the same thing. It does the same thing. Okay, I have a few more minutes. I don't really think the last program I can get into very much, but I'm going to just give you an overview of what it might look like when we do get into it. I'll tell you some things about it, about the future of the next program. When I move these things here, they move erratically. They go do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, because Google is translating what you say, okay, and it's not getting it quite right every time, so it repeats itself. It says, oh, they said right, oh, they said right, yeah, they said right. Or they said, all right. And it's a very complicated business going on there because it's changing what it's looking at, because it's going to a database and figuring out what you really said. Well, what that does for us is not good because it causes the thing to act erratically. So, what I've got is another strategy we can use where we say go left, and it will go less smoothly. It'll keep going left until you say stop. Go right, it'll go right smoothly until you say stop. Okay? That's a thing I want to do next week for sure. And also I'm going to show you how to rotate stuff. So you can say rotate right, okay, and it'll rotate. If you rotate left, it'll rotate left. So your objects on the screen can either rotate or move, whatever you want to do, or combinations of those things. And actually when I get a second here, I'll show you how that works. But there's something I want to show you that's kind of interesting in this new thing I'm going to present next week. The question is, how do you make something move at the speed you want it to move at? Like, it's an animation question, really. If you have something that's animated, what really is happening is, the thing is showing you one picture after the next, which are, they're related to each other, and they sort of give you the impression that something's moving. Okay? It's like the old, just like movie films. One frame at a time. And so the thing is, how do you do that in the computer when the computer is so enormously fast? It is so fast, if it actually ran one frame for each cycle of the computer, you wouldn't even see anything. It'd just be, hopefully, be gone in no time. So they had a struggle, and they still have the struggle between how fast the computer works and how fast our world is and what we do. Okay, they have to figure out how to do this. Well, the first thing they did is they started realizing they had to measure the computer's speed down in milliseconds, and even less, far less than milliseconds. A millisecond is 1,000th of a second. Okay, that speed is the sort of internet kind of speed. That's the kind of speed that you can actually talk about on the internet. You guys that play games, you know, you hear the word ping, right? The ping word. And what the ping means, what ping really means is, here's you as your computer right here. You send a signal to another computer over here, and then the signal comes back. The amount of time it takes to go over and back is a ping. It's like, it came from the old word for the submarines used to have pings. They would send out sonar, and it would bounce off a ship and come back and go, bong. And if it went bong, 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 you know you're in trouble. You know they're over you. So basically, ping is a thing they just pick up that word. On the internet, if you're playing games, you don't want, you don't want to be slow, okay? So let's say a ping is 1,000th of a second, okay? So there are 1,000 milliseconds. 1,000 milliseconds is a second, is 1 second. Well, the second's broken into 1,000 parts. MS is what we call it, 1,000 parts. And when they say to you, like for example, if you do a ping and you're playing a game, you say a ping, it'll give you numbers like this, you know, maybe like 250 or something. What those are is milliseconds. That means it's 250 milliseconds, which is approximately a quarter of a second, right? 500 milliseconds is a half of 1,000. 250 is half of a half. So it's about a quarter of a second. That's about a quarter of a second there. But you get used to it after a while. You get used to looking at these numbers. Gamers, you know, they'll see 75 and they'll know immediately what they're up against, or they'll see, 400. They'll know that as they're playing a game, someone else has got a different ping, and they're not going to be communicating as fast as the other person is to the game. So there's a slight disadvantage. So those numbers mean a lot to gamers, and but they mean something to us too. Milliseconds mean something to us because next week we're gonna write programs that involves milliseconds. We're gonna tell the thing to do something which is really strange, something that we haven't talked about. It's going to create. When a program runs, it always runs one thing at a time. It works like that, okay? And there are times when you want it to run two things at a time. While this one's running and you're looking at it, this thing in the background's running over here doing something different. It's doing something for you, but it's not in you. You're not seeing it. It's off to the side over here, okay? That's called threading. What happens is you have a thread that you're working in, and you can initiate another thread over here to do something while you're still working. Now, the interesting thing is, both of these threads are using the same computer. Okay, may have different, you may have different processes in there, but they're both in the same computer, and theoretically they could get in each other's way, but they're programmed to stay out of the way if they're done right, and these people have done it right. What happens is, when I have a program and I want something to delay, there's no way to delay in a program because it just runs one step after the other and it's lightning fast. So if you want something to happen in a couple of seconds, what do? How do you say, wait a couple of seconds before you do this? There's no way for you to do it unless you throw off another thread and say, don't do anything for a couple of seconds and then come back and do it. And there is a way of doing that, and I'm not going to talk about it today. I can see I'm out of time already, but essentially that's something that's really good to know how to do because there's tons of reasons why you'd want to do this. When you're rotating something on the screen or moving something on the screen, across the screen like that, what it's really doing is it's going, show the picture, 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 show the picture. If it's too fast, it'll go right off the screen. If it's too slow, it'll go ba-doop, 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 ba-doop. And the way to control that is in milliseconds. That's how it's done. That's how it's controlled. Because after all is said and done, it's the millisecond that is in our, it sort of runs time in the world that we're used to, and you can get to see it. I'll explain it more next week, but there it is. That's where we're going next, and it's not a really technical thing. It's sort of like there's only one instruction, and that one, oh, it's two, but there's one instruction that actually does it. It says, go aside and do this thing at a certain speed, and come back. And that's all it does for you. And that's all you have to do, because once you can do that, you can actually make things happen when you want them to happen. Let me turn the camera off, and don't forget, these programs, all three of them, even the one I didn't get to, are online. And use those as examples of the principles as, along with the instruction. Any questions or anything?